The original meaning of woke. The word woke originated in African American vernacular and has been used for decades, especially in Black communities. It initially meant being awake or alert to social injustice, particularly in the context of racism and systemic oppression. Its earliest recorded usage is in this context dates back to the 1930s. A widely cited example is the 1938 song by blues musician Led Belly, who advised people to stay woke in relation to the case of the Scottsboro Boys, 9 Black teenagers falsely accused of assaulting 2 white women in Alabama. Unfortunately, in modern times, the term resurfaced and gained broader cultural visibility through the rise of Black Lives Matter in 2014, especially after the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Stay woke became a rallying cry, a call to be aware, vigilant, and engaged in fighting racial injustice and police brutality. Then came this shift as the term gained traction outside of Black communities. Its meaning began to broaden and dilute, which is problematic. Over time, woke became a way to signify general awareness for progressive causes, including gender equality, which it was not, LGBTQ rights, which it was not, climate change, from where, economic inequality, why, colonial history and reparations. I don't know why it would come into that. This broadening coincided with a mainstream backlash, especially from conservative media and politicians who started to use the word woke sarcastically and derisively. Instead of connoting social awareness, woke was reframed to mean overly sensitive or politically correct, which it's not, radical or extremist liberal ideology, virtue signaling, or moral grandstanding. In this sense, woke has been hijacked in the public discourse to serve as a catch all insult for anything perceived as left wing or socially progressive, regardless of its connection to its term's origin. It now frequently used to ridicule corporate diversity initiatives, inclusive language, education reforms, or any progressive stance, whether or not it actually relates to racial justice or social awakening. So, some of the cultural and political implications of this is that by framing woke as a negative label, critics can discredit legitimate social movements and delegitimize activism by making it seem absurd or excessive. It also serves as a cultural war tool, dividing people along ideological lines and reducing nuanced debates into binary position, woke versus anti woke. Importantly, many of the people who originally used and polarized the term have pushed back against its co-optation. They argue that the term should remain focused on anti-racist and liberatory rather than being diluted or turned into a rhetorical punching bag. Woke began as a serious, culturally significant term urging people to stay aware of racial injustice and social inequalities. Its transformation into a catch-all slur for liberal values illustrates how language can be manipulated in public discourse, especially when ideas originating in marginalized communities gain visibility. Understanding the word's history is crucial in recognizing how it's being used and misused today. Examples of the proper use of the term woke was during the Black Lives Matter movement. Protesters and activists encouraged people to stay woke to police violence racial profiling, and systemic racism. It was used to express awareness for racial injustice following the deaths of Michael Brown, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many others. Another example of its proper use is in academic and educational contexts when educators and authors describe someone as woke in discussions of historical truth telling, systemic inequalities, and decolonizing curricula. The context is that it's seen in works like Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, where social consequence consciousness is central. Another correct use is in art and pop culture. Artists like Childish Gambino's This Is America and Beyonce's Formation created socially conscious work described as woke. It was reflecting on America's racial, cultural, and political contradictions. And examples of its misuse or weaponization, where people say things like go woke or go broke, which was a slogan used to criticize companies like Disney, Bud Light, or Gillette for embracing diversity or progressive messaging, whether or not the messaging was central to their product or failed financially. Often it oversimplifies and misrepresents business decisions as failures solely due to being woke, ignoring market dynamics and a broader context. Then there was the time Florida Governor Ron DeSantis launched an anti woke campaign.
We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
Framing virtually any progressive educational or corporate DEI policy as part of a radical agenda. It was misused because woke became a label for anti-left leaning policy or stance regarding whether it relates regardless of whether it related to awareness or justice, like banning books about race or gender identity under the banner of fighting woke ideology. Another problem with the misuse of woke was when political pundits or commentators use woke to insult individuals who support trans rights, inclusive languages, or climate action. It becomes a vague insult divorced from specific meaning used to mock empathy, activism, and social change. And then there's online culture wars where YouTubers or influencers make reaction videos to movies, games, or commercials labeled woke simply because they feature women, LGBTQ plus characters, or non-white leads. The term is wielded more as clickbait than as a meaningful critique. So, woke is not inherently negative nor partisan. It's originally meant a vital social awareness, especially for marginalized communities. But through cultural and political shifts, it's often today oversimplified, mocked, or misrepresented.
Hello everyone, Makadini, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for giving me your precious time and attention. Before I forget, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.